Greetings, friend. I'm going to give you 3 classic Sudoku recommendations for the month of May 2022. I think you'll love these puzzles, and you can click on the links below if you want to try them yourself. This is going to be no spoiler review of these puzzles. I'm not going to solve them, but I will give you some hints and tell you what I loved about it from a setter's perspective and from a solver's perspective. And with that, it's reviewing time. So for our easy puzzle, this is Classic Sudoku by Sam Cappleman-Lynes. If you're not familiar, on the CTC Discord server, Sam, Clover, and Philip Newman all put gas, generally approachable Sudoku puzzles on once a day. So this was for May 1st of 2022. And what you like about this puzzle, let's look right here, right? All these givens. Lots and lots of givens. How many givens are there? There's a ton of givens. I'll highlight them all. 31 to be precise. 31. So, from the setter's perspective, what Sam said was that he wanted a break-in that would be a little harder than normal, but still allow for a logical flow. And so the break-in here, it's not going to be a typical, hey, find a hidden single or a naked single, or any kind of move along the way. You actually have to look a little bit harder than that, but once you find it, it kind of moves in a pretty nice path. Took them only 20 to 30 minutes to set this puzzle. Unbelievable. I've heard setters take hours and normally days to come up with a puzzle, but Sam, I guess, is used to making these almost every day. He got some help, of course, from Clover, Philip Newman, and Backpal to test it. And the other things he wanted to say here is that he wanted to use a little bit extra digits just to kind of get your eyes on where to look and focus on. Of interest, this 7 right here is not required to be able to solve the puzzle. It still has a unique solution, but he put it in there to make the puzzle a little bit easier. Okay, from a solver's perspective, I really enjoyed this puzzle. What I enjoyed about it was that, I didn't find the initial solve right away. I had to go a little bit harder, and I'll give you a hint. You need to look for pairs. You need to look for a couple pairs, and once you figure that out, then it starts working itself pretty easily there. Great symmetry across the way here. Puzzles that have symmetry will draw your eyes to it. You can see how this puzzle worked as well. Centrality, there's a lot of given digits in the middle. What you want to do, though, is you want to focus on how much pressure blocks 1, 4, 9, and 7 place in the intervening blocks, and then how there's a little pressure coming from the middle as well, because there's a lot of given digits here, so that's going to help you with your solves. Okay, look at maximality, minimality. It has a lot of given digits, which makes a puzzle a little bit easier to solve when you add those extra digits. Next thing, from solver perspective, repeated patterns. Yes, once you figure out the initial break-in, you can find some repeated patterns that'll get you around the rest of this puzzle. And since it looks the same, it's a similar type solving as you work your way around the puzzle. And then implied predicted logical flow. If you say a puzzle's a gas, it needs to be somewhat easy. You're not going to use anything harder than the top 7 Sudoku strategies, which you can find on my channel if you're not familiar, but nothing harder than like a hidden pair or naked triple. Most of the other ones should kind of build itself. Very fun. Hundreds of people tried it on the CTC Discord. Unfortunately, I did not get 2 party hats. I got just over the 6 minutes required and about 1 party hat for this one. But very fun and enjoyable. I hope you try it out. Let's move on to our medium puzzle. So for our medium category, this is Leaf Beetle by Fryer. And what Fryer said about this puzzle, with the name, he started working with a particular strategy that he wanted to incorporate in the puzzle, and then from there he worked on, and then he saw a insect that looked kind of like the strategy, and so he found a particular type of beetle called the leaf beetle. Thought that'd be a cool name for the puzzle. If you look right here, you can probably make out, it looks like, this is the body, maybe these are the wings right here and here, and then maybe an antenna on this end. Kind of cool, worth looking at. Always appreciate having a good name for a puzzle. The inspiration was the technique that you're intended to find in here, and I said medium, so it's an advanced strategy, something I have tutorials on that you can use to solve, but I'm not going to give away what that strategy is. And he got the idea, he saw it on another app that creates Sudokus. He thought for a harder version of that, but instead he couldn't quite make that happen, so he settled for like the medium level strategy that he put into this puzzle for people to find. Took him 2-3 hours to set the puzzle is what he estimated, and he had some help with the testing and solving by Meme Rister, Pietato, the T-Rex, and then Keyshore from Unshacked and Silken Puzzles actually solved this live on his channel. And so I'll put a link to that video below, and you can go check out how Keyshore solves the puzzle, maybe after you try it yourself. Anything else? He said also you want to give a lot of thanks to the testers and people who give him ideas. He loves the CTC Discord server for helping create this puzzle. And so that's something I've found pretty neat, is that setters are not working in a vacuum. Normally they come up with an idea, they mull around with it a little bit, but then they start bouncing those ideas off of other setters to get even better ideas of the logical flow to put into a puzzle. I think that's really cool, and I love this community that these setters are using. Okay. From a solver's perspective, what did I want to tell you about this puzzle? One, it's got great symmetry, right? I'm drawing automatically to here, to kind of coming right down the middle. Love it. I love it. I think it looks great. Centrality. To me, these, I will highlight here. I feel like the starting grid wants me to look at these 3 blocks. So that these blocks and how they affect down here. And I look in these blocks, you'll see there's 7s, there's lots of 8s, 2s and 3s. So you get a lot, so the 4s, you're getting quite a few digits in here to kind of work with. So if my eyes are drawn to a certain spot as a solver, then I kind of know where to start, and I really like seeing that. It doesn't have too many digits or too little, but I know in order to draw kind of a picture, you have to kind of add a few extra digits. So it probably has a little bit more than a minimal type solve. I remember when Turgam's was talking about diagonal rows, he had to add a few more digits givens just to make it look like a rose. And then repeated patterns. So if you get in this puzzle, the solving is pretty nice and nice kind of flow. And you'll do naked hidden singles. You'll get some pointing pairs. Nothing real hard lock-candidate wise. And it kind of works you all the way to this point where you get stuck. And it's the same spot. Keyshore gets stuck, and I get stuck. And so right there, now you have to make a decision, right? Setters want you to get to that spot. And this puzzle is built wonderfully by Fryer, where you have to get to the intended logic. And there's 2 ways around it. And these are the things the setters don't want you to do. There's 2 B's. Bifurcate and bypass. So bypass will be using a different strategy not intended. A good example is unique rectangles. Setters don't put them into puzzles, but if you use a unique rectangle, sometimes you can bypass. Really can't do it here. The other one is bifurcate. That's where you're just going to pick one of 2 possibilities and see where that goes and see if you create a contradiction. If you do, then you just use the other candidate and move from there. There's no beauty in the logic of either of those B's, right? The beauty is finding the intended path here, and I think Fryer does an awesome job of making you get to what that strategy, that technique is. And then it gives you a handsome reward. When you work hard in a puzzle and you get that aha moment, you immediately, after getting that break, and want to be able to kind of move to the next logical step and move on to solving the puzzle. And you do. As soon as you find it, it pretty much breaks the puzzle, it starts to collapse, and you get through the rest of the solve. So I highly recommend Leaf Beetle. Let's move on to our hard puzzle. Our hard puzzle today is What You Have Known by Qinlux. And you look at this, it looks like a Qinlux puzzle. I've featured quite a few of them on my channel recently. I love Qinlux's style. What did Qinlux say about this puzzle? The name just came to them, wanted to take some strategies that Qinlux has shown previously and then add upon it. And with the idea is, if you've seen some of my puzzles before, then you should have an idea how to solve this one. And of course, this row 1 and column 9 idea right there. You can see that. You've seen this in some of his other puzzles that I've featured on this channel. Think of triple laser, for example. And then what you can do too is notice that Same 6 digits in the top and the bottom, so you have 1, 2s, and 3s. So kind of cool there. Other thing Qinlux said is wanting to kind of explore the setup and have some interaction with these 2 houses with other boxes in the puzzle. So you have to kind of look for other boxes in the puzzle. And so he does this thing, it's called telegraphing, right? It's telling the setter where to look. So you want to look up here, and then you can say, okay, what does this do compared to the rest of the puzzle? And so look where there's other spots of the puzzle, where there's other grids. And you can probably notice down in here, right, you know, that this 4 givens creates some freedom here. So if you're solving something on the edges, it's going to affect box 7. You also notice there's a lot of given digits here in box 5. So that's kind of the idea we want to play around with. Also of note, Qinlux said that in creating the puzzle, that Qinlux had to add a cell here and a cell here. These givens, the 4 and the 9, help telegraph the idea better. I never would have known that. But for some reason, putting these 2 digits here really helped the solver know where to look. Quite a bit of help from Jovial and the T-Rex. Most people in the Discord loved the puzzle, gave it, said it was exceptional, mind-blowing logic, but they rated difficulty-wise 2 and 3 stars, which is interesting. They must have known Qinlux's puzzles before, because this is not an easy puzzle to solve. If you put it through a solver, it's going to give you an extreme rating with lots of hard chains to follow, because the solver doesn't understand the logic required to make the break in here. And now I want to go from a solver's perspective. What do I think about this puzzle? I thought the symmetry is amazing. You kind of come right up through here, and you can see there's quite a bit of symmetry cutting it through this diagonal. I love the centrality of it. You can see right there. I love how there's no digits on column 1 and row 9, and that my eyes were immediately drawn to this part, and I had the 1, 2, 3 triples to kind of work with. I also liked the telegraphing, and I liked the logic. So once I figured out the logic, and I did figure it out, I was super happy. It's like, man, that is so cool. Can't believe Qinlux came up with something like that. It's the way I felt when I did Glitterbox. And I'll give you a hint. If you want to figure out the key to solving this puzzle, go watch my video on Glitterbox. I'll put it at the end. See what I did there. Similar concept, and then come back and try to solve this puzzle. And you're going to be satisfied, because it's a little bit different take on that idea. And then logical flow. Once you find and figure out what it takes to crack the puzzle, there's still a lot of good play working through the rest of the puzzle. And so you get a lot out of going through this puzzle and solving it. So it's highly satisfying. Qinlux likes to do one-stepper type puzzles where you have one real hard break-in type step. You get through that, and you are rewarded for finding that logic with a beautiful flow for the rest of the puzzle. Which of these puzzles do you think you're going to try first? Let me know in the comments below. And you're at it, give me some feedback. I'd love to make this a regular series if you find this enjoyable. Thank you for all the setters for your wonderful insights and answering my questions on the background and inspiration for these puzzles. Don't forget to buy me a coffee link. Thank you so much for watching.